Welcome to the last webinar of the year. And for this session, I will give the floor to ABC's partners. So thank you to Simona, Daniele, Arianna, and Laura to be the speaker for these sessions and to be able to present the climate projects they are working on. And to share with you the information about that, the data, the tool, and the resources available for the project. To introduce you quickly, myself, I'm Jouairyatou Wague, project officer working in ABC, and I will be the moderator of this webinar. I will introduce quickly the subject and give the floor to our speakers. Daniele Pernigotti will be the first to present his project called the Carbon Footprint Cup. And then we'll have Simona Scalbi from ENEA, who will talk about the various projects ENEA is working on, the Arcadia project, Life Mages, and other life projects. We'll have again Arianna Vecchi from the University of Università della Marche. I think I forgot one letter, but she will give you the full name of the organizations to present you another climate project, which is not specifically oriented to carbon, but you see that it will be interesting to take into account environmental impact of project. And of course, we have the carbon point of view, but you will have also other environmental impact. And finally, Laura will give you a specific, present you a specific project targeting municipalities and local authorities in Finland. Sorry. So the introductions. Who are we? Maybe some of you know ABC, which is the Association Bilan Carbone. ABC was created 9 years ago, so in 2021 it will be our 10th anniversary, and it was created in a specific core of one climate project, which is the development and the dissemination of the Bilan Carbone method, previously developed by ADEME in 2004. And this method is for GHG emissions accounting and reductions intended for organizations. And ABC's purpose is to facilitate the energy and climate transition for organization at the French, but also at international levels. And for that, we are developing methods related to GHG emission from accounting phase to mitigation phase. And ABC promotes synergies between organizations, and it supports the international dissemination of the French expertise on the matter. Our activities are intended to impact the more public as possible. So we are working with various organizations, from companies to local authorities, and with school also, and consulting firms, to increase the skills in GHG reduction and low carbon strategy, and to facilitate the transition. We also participate in many projects about climate change awareness raising and carbon footprint assessment. And we have specially contributed to the Life Clean Food project, aiming at spreading the carbon footprint evaluation expertise to other countries. We have Greece, Italy, Hungary, and Croatia. And for this project, ABC has developed a calculation tool for the project to allow the voluntary organizations involved in the project to calculate their carbon footprint and implement an online platform that serves as a common basis for carbon accountability and low carbon transition in Europe. That is, in few words, ABC's missions. And for this project, we have previously done 2 webinars. The first one was focused on the European Green Deal, and the second one on the recovery plan after the COVID-19 pandemic. And for this for this last webinar, we will give the floor to our partner. Why have you choose to give the floor? Maybe we can see what happens in the last week. We had 2 events. The first was the World Climate Day and the 5th anniversary of the Paris Agreement. It was a time to underline the threat of climate change and the need to act to double endeavors to reach the 2-degree objectives. But 5 years after the COP21, we consider the Paris Agreement as useful, but it's only a first step, and we have also a long work to done to go through the global carbon neutrality. And in fact, this period from 2015 to 2020 was a time for raising awareness and defining the long-term climate strategy. And the next 5 years have to be the period of the global turning points in concrete actions to fight climate change. So we have on the one hand the commitment through the agreement, or you also have the same at national level with programs and national strategies, but we need to meet also actions to reach the carbon neutrality in 2050. And how can we do that, and where to start? So we need to raise first people awareness, identifying actions at our own level, and implement innovative and inspiring projects to get them more involved in action. So for that, I hope you are all comfortably settled to heard about the interesting project to follow this webinar. So to begin with, I will give the floor to Daniele for the first presentations. So a few words about our partnership between Aequilibria and ABC. We started working with Aequilibria in 2019 to propose a live project to the European Commission, and we hope to have a good answer and around March or April 2021 regarding the carbon footprint, and it's a project which follows the first Clean Food project. It's kind of a pursuit to go deeper on the mitigations actions for organizations, but also at policy level to reinforce the engagement at national level.
So thank you, Jouairyatou, for your invitation and for ABC invitation to present our experience here. It's really a pleasure to have this opportunity to collaborate with you. You mentioned the Paris Agreement. First of all, I need to introduce myself at least. I am the CEO of Aequilibria, that is a consultant company working in the environmental area, but mainly in carbon management. I'm also fully involved in the development of ISO standard on carbon management. And I also may inform you that 1 week ago was approved a very interesting project proposed by Italy to create a new technical committee at the European level, at the same level, dedicated to climate change. And this is another very interesting area that maybe we may discuss in the question and answer session of this event. But connecting with your previous point, you mentioned the Paris Agreement, and that we know how important it is for the to cope on climate change. But the Paris Agreement starts at the political level. Then we need to involve even other levels. And the activity of ABC is mainly in the economic market level, involving company to increase the mitigation activity at that market level. But we believe that it's also very important to act at the level of the culture. And in particular, when you are thinking of culture, we need to think about the culture of the people that now is the policymaker or is the top manager of the company. But at the same time, also the culture of the future generation, because we know that future generation will be more affected on climate change. So our project starts from this point, and the idea was to create we call Climate Footprint Cup. In Italian is Olimpiadi del Clima, Olympics game of climate change. We may have a different name. And we launched this project in 2013 with Arica, that is a company based in Vicenza, with the idea to increase the knowledge on climate change and water usage to the student of middle class, because we believe that at that particular age it was very important to transfer the basic knowledge and the sensitivity on climate change. And the idea was to introduce a gaming approach in pushing this group of young people to compete in direction of a lower carbon footprint. This project was able to train, to involve around 1,000 students per year, mainly in the area of Vicenza, that is a municipality between Padua and Verona. But after 6 years of experience, we decided to transfer the content of this training on the digital training platform to allow a larger number of people, of students, to be a part of this competition. And this happened exactly at the end of 2019, but with the emergency of COVID-19, this process was accelerated. So all the training material was transferred in the digital training platform in March 2020. For who is interested to have more information, I'm sorry, in Italian at the moment, it's possible to visit the website www.aequilibria.it, and that is the Aequilibria Gymnasium, is our platform for training and information. But going more in direction of the content of the training, the idea was to structure the training course in different modules, video, and with some question and answer session to create some forum to involve as much as possible the student in these activities. And then following the training activities, we also have a calculation tool for the calculation of carbon footprint of the students. Now I try to share with you an example of video. It's a very short video. So it's in Italian, it's very short, it's 20 seconds, only to give you the idea of what is a training course.
Il ciclo dell'acqua si svolge in 4 fasi, ovvero evaporazione, condensazione, precipitazione ed infiltrazione. Vediamolo un po' nel dettaglio. Durante l'evaporazione il sole scalda l'acqua di mari e di fiumi, ma anche quella che si trova nelle piante e negli esseri viventi. Il processo ricomincia.
Oh, no, sorry. As anticipated, it was only a very basic explanation of the training course, because it's in Italian and I don't want to be too boring for you. But you may imagine this kind of approach for several scientific aspects and even political aspects, so the negotiation, and even economical aspects. Try to introduce the main topics on climate change for students. We also have additional support material for teachers or parents in order to be able to support the student in the calculation of their carbon footprint and to be part of this competition. And then at the end of each module, the student have the specific test to check the effectiveness of the training course and to allow to proceed for the next lesson. And after that, there is the calculation part where all the students may input data in connection with their lifestyle, the distance from house to school, which kind of transportation media they use, what they eat, the eating system at the house. So all this information is asked in order to have a calculation of the carbon footprint of the student, carbon and water footprint at the same time. And at the end, obviously, we give them a certificate of attendance for the training course. And it's also possible to have an additional evaluation report for each student to share with the teachers, if requested. And so it's very short description of our experience, but I know that the idea was to give you some very quick update of our project, but I will be happy to share with you more information later if needed. The only additional point is that at the moment we are in the transition phase from the physical training to the digital platform training. We already implemented this year this approach, but our idea is to spread out more as possible in the next year at the national level. But we are also thinking on the possibility to develop a similar tool in English or another language in order to create some kind of international carbon footprint cap. So the idea to involve a bigger number of students to increase the awareness on climate change and to help them through the game, with the gaming approach, to understand the importance of their action in the daily experience. So very quick presentation. So Jouairyatou, it's all. Thank you for all of your attention, and obviously I remain available for additional discussion later.
Thank you, Daniele. An interesting project targeting students, but we will see that this public is also really important to inform and to share with them scientific information about the global warming and the climate change and how the carbon accounting is working, particularly if they have the opportunity to calculate their own carbon footprint during the exercise. So if you have any question about Daniele's project, do not hesitate to use the chat and to write your question, and he could maybe answer during the question and answer sessions. And I will give the floor to Simona to present the ENEA's project, various ENEA's projects.
Hello.
Hello, Simona. Just 1 minute to give you the right. Simona, you are here.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. I am Simona Scalbi, and I work in ENEA, Italian National Agency for New Technology, Energy and Sustainable Economic Development. My presentation is to define how assess and communicate the environmental footprint. I will present three ENEA projects: Arcadia, Life Magis. The first one is the Arcadia project. ENEA is the coordinator of this project. This is an Italian project to promote the life cycle approach in public tenders and strengthen the expertise of public administration in this context. Moreover, the biggest activity in the project was the development of an Italian LCA database. The database wanted to be a supporting tool for public contracting authorities and for companies that conduct LCA studies of their product using Italian data. The project is developed in several phases. In the first phase, we have defined the supply chain, the 15 supply chain to create a data set on this supply chain. After this, we are developed the methodology to create this data set from the data collection and critical review, quality data, and so on. We have defined the format, ILCT format. We are testing the methodology with the pilot supply chain. After this, we have developed the several supply chain in the sector of construction, energy, agri-food, and paper. And after we will be implement this database on life cycle data network, a node recognized by the European Commission. In the selection of the 15 national supply chain, we have collaborate with the environmental ministry that have created a control room. That is the control room is a room where all the region are involved, one representative for each region, to help us to understand which sector are more interesting for the several region. Other this, we have considered the environmental impact of different sector, the national and regional productivity of the supply chain, and we have considered the integration and use of green public procurement, CAMS, and the Made Green in Italy label, and other labels such as EAPD. The sectors identified are construction, energy, wood and paper, food industry. The pilot supply chain is on wood furniture, in particular school furniture, desk and chair, and office school furniture, desk and chair again, and we have developed some part of solid wood boards, fur and larch. This is an important element for the construction sector too. And moreover, we are develop the forest wood chip for energy production. These are the sectors and the supply chain. For the construction sector was considered because there are several binding environmental rating system at Italian level and at the EU level, and a lot of different types of product label where are involved the life cycle concept. Identification of some specific supply chain identify are natural stone, concrete, windows, and paints. Another important sector for the LCA is energy. We are developing the national electrics mix, and we have choose two supply chain of this electric mix, the photovoltaic and the biomassa for the electricity production. Moreover, in the food industry, that is important sector in Italy, in the export, import, and for the producer good, we have identified industrial tomato, processed and preserved meat, and dairy. At the moment, we are defining which supply chain we want to activate in the paper. If this part now is in the discussion. The database will be online on the node of Lifecycle Data Network. We have a website where there are all information about the project and the several steps of the our activity. Another project that we're working is a life effigy. A FIGE project funded by the Life Unit Environmental Commission and aims to enable Italian companies to measure their environmental footprint with transparency, clarity, and effectiveness. The Life FIGE is want to promote a clear and communication for the environmental footprint project. The coordinator is Sant'Anna, Scuola Università Superiore di Pisa, and the other partner are ENEA, Assofond, CAMSTE, Consorzio Agriturismo Mantovano, Dai Carlina, and FLAE, Federlegno. The Life project is designed to meet this need by testing the adaptation of the product environmental footprint method promoted by the European Commission. The project want apply the PEF method. The PEF method allow the calculation of environmental footprint of the entire life of a product and service, from raw material extraction and acquisition through energy and the material production and the manufacturing to use at the end of life treatment and final disposal. The FIGE approach is apply this aspect in four sectors: foundry, office furniture, agri-food, and school meal service. Several companies have been involved in the following activity: PEF application and hotspot analysis, definition of an action plan and implementation of the action plan, PEF recalculation and improvement assessment. The important part of the Life FIGE is the communication of the PEF result. The project have tested several kind of type of communication by website, mobile apps, performance label, traffic label, fact sheet, online sheet, infographic, and improvement label. This is because different point of view about the possible label are important for different market. The project develop tool and database. One eco-design simplified tool for office furniture aimed at identify improvement action. A life cycle communication tool aimed at supporting the environmental communication of PEF result to not expert users. A PEF starter, an online tool addressed to companies, especially small and medium enterprises that want to approach the PEF method and to understand its objectives, opportunities, and procedure. An LCA database, including selected project developed during the project, and the Medit tool for editing of metadata in agreement with the ILCD format for the data set developed in the project and for all the experts that want to develop some kind of ILCD dataset. The project, I invite you to look in this tool. This tool is a PEF starter tool, is divided in three main sectors: corporate environmental policy, with a particular reference to environmental product communication and the life cycle approaches, opportunity on PEF method for the companies, and main step to develop a PEF study. The tool is free, is online, there are some questions and based on the answer offer a different information path. on the main aspect of the PEF method, and at the end of the path, a report containing information can be downloaded. The tool provides links to official website of the PEF program, and the tool document developed in life effigy in order to redirect user to more detailed documentation. Another project is Life Magis Made Green in Italy scheme. In this project, ENEA is the coordinator. The other partner are Conerpo, sorry, Consorzio Legno Legno, Consorzio Pecorino Romano, Union Italian Food, University of Aachen, Scuola Sant'Anna, Linea Pelle, CNR IBE, Institute of Bioeconomy Italy. The Life Magis wanted to stimulate innovation, aim at improve product environmental footprint, to strengthen communication about green product and promote their purchase by consumers. The project aims to support the diffusion of a method promoted by the European Commission as a way to harmonize environmental evaluation and communication of product and organization, called the PEF, as well as the recently introduced PEF-based Made Green in Italy scheme. The project wants to develop both. In particular, is focused on Made Green in Italy scheme. The Made Green in Italy scheme is a scheme developed in Italy. The impact of the project are to involve 21 companies, Italian company from different sectors, food, leather, windows, fitting, and reduce for about 2-5% of their environmental impact, and reach more about 800,000 consumers, and the replicability activity will involve 100 Italian companies and 120 European ones, and 3 Italian trade associations and 6 European ones. The project will support the diffusion application of the PEF and want to promote the Made Green Italy scheme. For this scheme, the Italian developed by Italian Ministry of Environment, the project have the formal support of the environmental minister. Actually, there are some training initiatives on the Life Magis tool. Consortia and trade association will involve a new company in the PEF implementation. The partner will participate in favor of sustainability topic at the local, national, and EU level to share Life Magis experience and strengthen PEF reputation and attractiveness. Scuola Sant'Anna will develop a PEF training module based on Life Magis outcomes and experience for companies interested in PEF and in Made Green in Italy activity. ENEA will bring the Life Magis experience to the coordination group of the European Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform, ICESP, as well as the Italian Circular Stakeholder Platform, ICESP. Thank you for the attention. If you want more information about the Arcadia project, you can send a mail simonascalbi@enea.it, at enea.it. E for the FIGE project, Patrizia Buttol @enea.it, and Magis Sara Cortese @enea.it. Patrizia is the referent for ENEA for the project FIGE. Sara Cortese is the coordinator of project Life Magis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simona, for this presentations. So we see that you are working ENEA's part through different projects, life project or national project, to develop environmental impact database in Italy.
Yeah.
And it's intended for various public, from industrials to public, with the approach with public tenders, but also for customers. That is very interesting because we have a lot of a development of many carbon footprint intended to consumer for citizens, and they also need data to calculate their carbon footprint. You have two questions on the chat. You can just consult, and you will be able to answer during the question and answer sessions. So thank you, Francis, for your question. I think Simona can read the question and give you an answer later. So now
okay.
I will give the floor to Arianna to present another Italian project, because we have many Italian partners in ABC.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I will just give you the right now.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share with you this important and hopefully interesting initiative we led with our group of research, VRAI, Vision Robotics Artificial Intelligence, which is part of Università Politecnica delle Marche, where I'm a research fellow. Today, I would like to talk with you about Ultimate, which is a 4-year Horizon 2020 project under the European Union Water in the context of the Circular Economy Program, with the aim of increasing sustainability by valorizing resources within the water cycle. If we can pass to the following slide, please. Okay. Actually, the most important thing to share with you is that wastewater is not only a reusable resource, but it should be even a carrier for energy, because Ultimate will act as a catalyst for water smart industrial symbiosis, in which wastewater plays a key role both as a reusable resource, but also as a vector for energy and material to be extracted, treated, stored, and reused within a dynamic socioeconomic and business-oriented industrial ecosystem, with the ultimate purpose of reducing carbon emissions and, in the long term, pollution in general. If we can pass to the other slide, please. As we can see, as I explained, wastewater is not only a reusable resource, but also a carrier for energy and components that can be extracted, treated, stored, and reused. To do that, we adopted an evidence-based approach anchored on a 9 large-scale demonstrations across Europe, and we chose 4 important sectors to apply this kind of project. If we can pass ahead, please. These sectors are agro-food processing, beverages, heavy chemical and petrochemical, and biotech industry. And we can say that turning the wastewater into a resource, to do that, we should follow a sort of water cycle that in this case we can call a wastewater cycle, because we're starting with the recovering and refining and reuse wastewater at an industrial and municipal level, passing through the extraction and exploitation of energy, combining water energy management and treatment processes as energy producers, water-enabled heat transfer, storage and recovery, till arriving to the extraction of and exploitation of materials, for example, nutrient mining and reuse, extraction and reuse of high added value exploitable compounds contained in industrial wastewater, as we can see in the following slide with the wastewater cycle, please. Okay, this is the process that we applied to turn wastewater into a resource. I would like right now to concentrate my attention on the 7 most important activities of this project. If we can pass to the other slide, please. In fact, we can say that the activities of this project are the development and the optimization and demonstration of water smart industrial symbiosis technology, with the help of many smarter tools that I will explain afterward, ensuring the replicability and transferability of solution, because we would like even to ensure a sort of we would like to enlarge even the methodologies and the methods used for this project even to other sectors, by ensuring the calculation of costs and benefits, minimizing the risk, and helping the stakeholders to identify new alternative symbiotic pathways linked to the emerging business opportunities. We would like to develop new exploitation and valorization schemes, rolling out novel governance approaches, promoting active stakeholders engagement, innovation, co-creation, public awareness, and vision setting. In fact, Ultimate nurtures partnerships between business, like water service providers, even regulators, policymakers, research institutes, design and develop a communication platform, which is another important task, because as I will explain afterward, a combination of technology and art is applied even in this kind of project. And we would like to invent new flexible business model for WSIS oriented small and medium enterprises, because we know that sometimes small and medium enterprises are represent the backbone of the economic system of many European countries. If you can pass it to the other slide, please. As we can see, when we talk about Ultimate, we don't talk just about technology, but more than just technologies, because as I anticipated, with the use of smart tools, enabling technologies, innovator ecosystem, even supported by new systems like, for example, deep learning systems or machine learning systems, which are able to collect a great amount of data that can be interpreted in a shorter time, we can ensure a more socially responsible and friendly industry with water at its center. So the most important thing is to combine technologies with this new aim. In fact, as we can see in the last slide, please, the great synergy between technology and art should ensure and share visions for more circular, profitable, socially responsible, and greener industry with water, because we know that technology is the key to apply what we thought about this kind of project, but we know even that art it should be an important issue to be considered to attract a broader range of population in the business sectors, but in the long term, even in our daily lives. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Arianna, for the presentation of the Ultimate project and to highlight the importance of water as sources, but also the different uses by industrial, but also the possibility to use to avoid the linkage of water and maybe another use regarding circular economy to provide users with an efficient water. So if you have also question about the Ultimate project, do not hesitate to write your question on the chat.
Yes, you can even visit the website in which the project is well explained, and there are many details of how we applied and we organize the project.
And of course, we will share with all participants the support of presentation so that you can have the contact of the different speakers. So thank you. Yes, my screen is working. Yes. I will quickly present the next project, which is called Clicks On, and we are also working with the Università Politecnica della Marche on this project. So it's a newly beginning project. So you will have an overview of the project, and you can follow us to have the future development and resources. So Clicks On. I think all of you, do you remember about the Youth Movement for Climate? And in the 2019 Youth Climate Strike have started with an increasing number of demonstrators, including school children, in more than 270 cities, but not only in Europe, but across the world, in Australia, Japan, Canada, the United States too. Youth is engaged towards the fight against global warming and protest against inaction on climate change. And they were not alone, as scientists have given them their support, signing an open letter. We have more than 3,000 scientists in Belgium who signed the support letter. And also they have some support of politician members. So there are a need to educating students. Daniele has presented you a first project targeting students, and the Clicks On is also working on the same way. So as the Minister of Education of Wallonia said, we shouldn't discourage students from protesting, but she highlighted the mean to provide pupils with the knowledge and to equip them with the appropriate tool dealing with climate. So it's important to base on research and on science to explain the climate change and to also give tool to act. So how can we do that? We need to develop an innovative pedagogical approach because now we have very less countries in which you can find the climate change courses on the training on the student courses. And for that, you need to involve schools, teachers and leaders, but also a politician level to have this kind of courses for students. So based on this information, ABC decided to draw a project which is called Clicks On. Clicks On means Climate Change Educational Kit for Pedagogic Innovation in Secondary Schools. Okay, the aim is to mobilize expertise with different partners to draw this project. It's a 3-year project financed with the Erasmus Plus project, which is a European Commission instrument to financing project intended to students. And we have 3 objectives. The first one was, of course, to raise awareness on climate issues, which is the first step, and also on carbon accounting among the greatest number of students, but not only, we also need teachers, school leaders, and administrative non-educational staff. And with that, we need to develop and to give them the tools through a climate educational toolkit, which will be replicable at a European scale, so developed in different language, but of course in English first, with the objective to harmonize and share at the European level educational materials, experiences, and practices to include the climate change education in courses. And for that, we organize a consortium with 5 other partners. For the French part, you have ABC as a coordinator and Avenir Climatique, which is right AC, that are offering the energy and climate change awareness training program parts for the methodology to develop a tool regarding carbon accounting. We have also 2 Italian partners. The first one is SYKE and the Università Politecnica della Marche, and 2 Spanish partners, Design for Change, and one establishment, the College Jesuitinas Maria Reina. And Design for Change and SYKE will propose an innovative educational approach. And the Università Politecnica della Marche will be particularly active in the framework of the digital knowledge and the digital education approach to develop the educational toolkit. So the main project output will be a climate change educational toolkit available in 4 languages, in French, Spanish, Italian, regarding the partners' countries, but also in English, of course, the language in which we will work. And this toolkit will support students from secondary school to launch the initiative to change behavior and to contribute to the low carbon transition of their establishments. This initiative will entail the calculation of the carbon footprint of their establishments by students themselves, that can be based on the main emission activities, that is called the light initiative, or maybe if they have more time to do the projects, they can develop a complete initiative to calculate all activities of the establishment. And the idea is also to implement a mitigation action plan to reduce the carbon footprint of the school. And based on a common innovative pedagogical approach, this toolkit will be designed during the project and will be composed of the facilitator package to give to teachers and other adults of the school the guide to develop the project and to present it to students, and the kit dedicated to students, containing the teaching modules on energy, climate change, action plan, strategies, but also the calculation tools they will use to calculate the school carbon footprint. And the idea is also to develop this approach with the gamification approach, including game regarding carbon footprint and the raising awareness with this subject. But also we are really interesting to develop the mitigation action to go beyond the result of the carbon footprints and to be able to identify the way in which they can reduce the GHG emission of the school. But of course, some action will need the implication of the local authorities, the municipalities, and other external stakeholders to be able to have a real reduction of the GHG emissions. So the facilitator package and the student kit will form the educational toolkit. And we will develop also a project website in which you will find all the resources developed during the project. We will have 3 parts for the project. The first year will be the development of the materials, and since January 2021, we will launch the student kit, the light version of the student kit, as we started to have a French part of the project, and we will just give the resources to make it available in English and to implement in the 7 schools of the experimentation in France, Italy, and in Spain. The idea is to have at least 260 students with 14 teachers, but also non-administrative staff, because it's not only intended to students, but it's a global project which have to include all the school. This is the Clicks On project. So we have just started, we have launched the kickoff meeting last month, sorry. So that is why I will just give you the grid line, and maybe we will have other communication on the project to disseminate the resources. So time is running. I will give the floor to Laura, who will present you the Canimur project.
So good afternoon, everyone from Finland. I will present to you our live integrated project, Canemure, towards carbon neutral municipalities and regions. So a bit different angle here that we have. Our project is a 6-year quite large project with several partners from municipalities, a bit of all over Finland, and the aim is to implement Finnish national climate policies. And the project is constructed so that we have this kind of national expert platform where we at Finnish Environment Institute work mostly on, besides this coordination. Then we have 7 different regions included, and they have their own coordinators to support this regional implementation of climate policies. And then we have a foreign municipalities network that we also support with our tools and measures. And then in this, the project we have the budget is allocated to different kinds of concrete actions that we also support. So they relate to transport, agriculture, energy efficiency of buildings, decentralized renewable production, urban planning, and also one action by the city of Helsinki where the carbon footprint criteria is studied, how it could be included in the procurement processes of the city. So I already shared some material on this, but I think I won't go here into details in these concrete actions, but rather what kind of tools and measures we have been doing at Finnish Environment Institute. So if I can go forward in this presentation. Right, first I will present this foreign municipalities network that we support. So Finnish Environment Institute has been coordinating this Hinku network for 13 years now. So this kind of has been the basis also to build the project so that we could kind of enlarge this work. And now we have regions also included and so on. But today we have almost 80 municipalities included in this network, and that all the municipalities have committed to reduce their greenhouse gas emission by 80% by 2030. And in the scope there are the electricity, heating, transportation, agriculture, and waste management. So all the sectors, kind of the municipalities can have some impact by themselves in the city organization, or kind of by influencing their citizens, or will it be students or different actors in the city, landowners, so on. But then what we do at the Finnish Environment Institute, our one aim is to kind of analyze and inform these municipalities and other actions. What are the best practices in climate change mitigation? So we have produced these kinds of best practice brief, these studies on different themes like effective emission reduction measures in municipalities overall or in the sector, in land use, such as agriculture, forestries, related to mobility. We have SYKE for solution on barriers of municipal climate work, how it's organized at the municipal level. So these kind of 4-pagers that are quite easy to grasp on and go through. Then we have our web pages, this Carbon Neutral Finland, where we collect all this information, publications and other information that we produce. We have this kind of energy lead services where we collect kind of information on best practices as well. We have portals for funding and different projects in Finland. Then we have some training where we have launched this kind of carbon neutral webinar series where we have like 1-hour webinars on these most effective climate actions. Then one of our major work is to construct a municipal for all the 310 municipalities in Finland. We launched this kind of emission portal in the beginning of this year, and currently we have emissions for all the other municipalities during 2005 and 2018. Following this, we have built this kind of scenario models where the municipalities can set their goal, for instance, this -80 until 2030, and then they can look how different kinds of measures and activities at different sector, how they impact on the total emission that are aimed for. So, for instance, energy efficiency at houses in this municipality, how it will affect, and so on. So at the first phase, we have transport and buildings there modeled in more detail, and later we try to include more sectors in more detail. So now we have a test version, and next year we will launch it also online. And we're also planning to link this kind of web-based evaluation tool where the most impactful measures could be put and then followed at the municipal level. And we also give support for municipalities and regions in their kind of climate roadmap planning. So many municipalities are building their climate roadmaps. Also, our 7 included regions in the project, they are just kind of finished their first versions of their roadmaps, and they've been and now we start evaluating those. Then we develop different kinds of methods and decision tools. We follow indicators in renewable energy, also related to mobility, and we have developed some calculators related to, for instance, solar electricity and heat pump profitability. We have developed some life cycle tools. For instance, we just launched this kind of alternative mobility calculator that's also available in English, so where you can see, if you don't own a car, how much that will cost you and the climate. So, but it's of course made for the Finnish conditions. And now we're also building a calculator to calculate the kind of climate balance for bioenergy investments. Then we have studied potential for regional potential for renewable energy related to solar and wind and heat pumps at all these all the different regions in Finland and calculated kind of employment and investment costs for those different renewable energy forms. Then we do some research and development studies on success stories, like focusing on success stories and bottlenecks in the climate change mitigation. We studied the impact of this Hinku climate network with quantitative and qualitative level, and we produced a report, and now we are hopefully publishing a paper also very soon on this subject. And then we have produced this report on product environment footprint method together with kind of our Helsinki sub-action. Then we studied climate brand of 4 new municipalities, and at the moment we are studying bottlenecks and solutions for implementing investments in excess heat and heat pumps. Yes, so this is just shortly showed some of our results in this study, what was found, the 4 new municipalities network. Kind of, it was found that this network had really an impact on the members' climate work on different ways. But I think I stop here.
So thank you for this interesting presentation. But we see that the issues is major for municipalities, and that they need to envisage, or they need to do some investments to reach the reduction of some emitting costs like the transport and energy. But it's interesting, and if you have any question on the topic, you can write it on the chat. Now I can share my screen. It's now the question and answers time. On the chat, there are already some questions, and I think that Simona has answered the first one. Need to go through the question. No, the first question was if the carbon footprint cup presented by Daniele, if there is an English version of the game, and Daniele has answered that it's an ongoing process to develop the English version. And Francis has also answered to Simona the number of data, how many impact factors in the FEG database, and also what is your experience on the precision of the calculated carbon footprints? Simona has answered. So Simona, I don't know if you have the number. Okay.
I have right that the FIGE use the PEF method, and the PEF method has more or less 12 impact category, but in the FIGE project there are don't consider the impact category on toxicity. So more or less there are 19 impact category, such as global warming and acidification, eutrophication, the abiotic depletion or ozone layer depletion, and so on. And the Italian LCA database include all the PEF, use the PEF method too, and the data set developed in the Italian LCA database will be implemented in the Italian emission factor databases as a CO2 emission.
Okay. And about the PAFE method, Laura, we see in your presentation that you are also using this European method in the evaluation of the climate impact of public procurement. Is it included on your web tool evaluation tool, or is it how you use it in the CANEMER project? Are you produced finished data?
Yes.
Or, okay.
The city of Helsinki had studied the use of PEF, but it kind of appeared that in these pilots that they weren't able to totally include it in their public procurement, but they just used more simple carbon footprint calculations there, if I remember correctly.
Okay. And I see also Daniele's question you started to answer about the standards you are using to quantify GHG emission.
Yes.
Maybe Daniele, you could precise your question. Are you talking about like with the standards like the ISO, the GHG? Sorry. Daniele, I don't know if you are also here.
We use the GPC standard, if that's what that's what you asked for. So kind of geographical boundaries, but certain sectors based on consumption, such as electricity and heat. Then we also include passenger cars and waste treatment. So basically the scope 1 emission that we have calculated, also scope 2, and for some sectors also scope 3 emissions.
Sorry, Laura, if I may add something. What do you mean for JPC? What did the acronym stand for? JPC?
Greenhouse Protocol Standard. Greenhouse.
Greenhouse Protocol Standard. So
but I can put a link to our kind of calculation methods.
Yeah.
So if you want to.
Sorry if I interrupt you. I'm asking you because, as mentioned before, just a couple of weeks ago was decided to establish a new technical committee at the European level with the SEN. And in my personal view, because the work program is not established at the moment, but in my personal views, I believe that the public authority quantification, GHG quantification, is one of the most interesting area where it's possible to develop a European standard to have an harmonized approach through Europe for municipalities. I don't know if you agree on it, and if this is the case, we'll be very happy to stay in contact with you in order to further evolution on this area.
Okay. Yes, this is just something that we are very much going to develop. What we already had, but that's also one of our main targets in the future. And like besides this kind of production-based, we also try to include consumption-based emission inventories for the municipalities and so on. So this is something we really now are working with. So yes, we're happy to share ideas for sure.
Okay.
I put the link where you can now see where we are now. So there are the calculation principles also, and I think that also our contact.
Yeah.
Contact.
Thank you for the link, but for sure we will stay in contact for the future.
Yes. Okay. Great.
And Laura, I don't know if actually currently in Finland you have some regulation about the GHG emissions for municipalities or for companies. And the second question was how will municipalities interact with companies settled in their territory?
Okay. Yes. I'm not sure about the first question. Maybe there's no clear answer, or like no.
Currently, you don't have any regulation about the JG accounting.
Yeah, exactly. But the second one is that what we found in the study when we interviewed 40 municipalities in the network, that really it's difficult to kind of engage companies in the work of the municipalities. So there is something that really needs improvement. So so that's my answer. It's yes, like also a bit like citizens. So it's the municipalities, at least the small ones, just don't have so much resources, and they haven't found good ways to interact with the companies yet.
You have another question from Francis in the chat. Do you have an estimate of the error margins on the carbon footprint of municipalities?
I don't think we have, but we have. I think I haven't been myself involved in the calculation, but there are many different kind of references or databases where the data is. Sorry.
Oh, I think someone has opened his microphone.
Okay. Yes, but we kind of have listed different types of data sources that we've used, but there's no detailed kind of uncertainty analysis. There is like a so vast amount of data used, but I think that we kind of try to looked also that up and write scientific paper on the calculations. We have a report in Finnish, but also try to work to present also the kind of error margins of the calculation.
Okay. Another question to Arianna, but I will.
Yes.
Okay, copy and paste it in on the chat because it was sent to me on my private channel.
Yes, I got the question.
Yes. When this project started, so I think it's the ultimate project, and
yes.
as the water efficiency use depends a lot on where it is used against, where is its source. I imagine your project needs to be specially related to industries near to each other.
So for the first question, I can say that the project runs from the 1st of June 2020 to the 30th of May 2024. Surely I can say that water efficiency use depends a lot on where it is used, but actually the project will implement, as I said, nine water smart industrial symbiosis case studies in 4 different geographical settings. I can remember, for example, Western, Central and Southern Europe, Southeast Mediterranean. And so I think that the objective is not the distance between among the industries, but the digital tools should fill this distance through the instruments that we will provide. In fact, the main objectives are to evaluate and demonstrate the performance at a large scale, even through the use of innovative technologies and symbiosis strategies. Fill this distance between industrial sectors and service providers through the use of digital technologies. I don't know if I've answered to the question.
Okay. I don't have the name of the person who asked the question, so maybe he can answer on the chat if the answer is enough for it. And another question to all presenters. Is an open emission factors database such as the ADEM-based Carbone any use for your work in your country, at least for comparison purposes? Maybe Simona, you can answer first, as you have an idea of the ADEM-based Carbone.
In my country, there isn't a emission factor database large as ADEM. Only we have the emission factor database developed with the Clean Food project, and for Italy was about 350 emission factors, and we have included the other emission factor from other countries such as Croatia, Greece, and Hungarian and French for about another 115 more or less emission factor databases. And the life cycle, that Italian life cycle database is ongoing, but I mean for the first phase we can reach about 50 data set until 100 data set, not more, for the first 3 years of the project. I hope this is clear. Okay.
So this is for the Italian part, and Laura, maybe for the Finland. Can you hear me, Laura?
Yes, okay, but I'm I didn't understand that it was still the same question. I think that our partners at the city of Helsinki, they know more, but what I understood that's the use of this kind of databases was somehow a bit difficult, that like this BEF method, that they still need to kind of study on that, but I can't say any more on this.
Okay. So for sure, the ADEM has developed the based Carbone since 20 years now in France, and many organizations, so many consultants are looking for different emission factors in different countries, and as you have the based Carbone in France, they try to find some database in other country, but it's quite challenging for country organizations to animate and to develop this kind of base, and sometimes you also need to do a lot of work to find at least one emission factors. But we need also maybe with the development of carbon accounting calculation by organizations with local data, it will maybe facilitate the development of this kind of database.
Jouairyatou, Daniele speaking. Yeah. I believe that this is a very interesting point, but we also need to consider that the political framework is drastically changed now in Europe with the Green Deal. And so I believe that we should think in the direction of some kind of escalation of the French experience at the European level, because I expected in some way, I don't know how it's possible, but in some way, that the European Commission will support, will guide the creation of national database, because it will be fundamental for the implementation of the Green Deal. So we should think in this direction.
Yes, we hope that the Green Deal implementation on the environmental objective dealing with carbon will contribute to develop this kind of database, because now at European level you have some method like the PEF method, but I don't know if you have an open database where you can consult directly emission factors ready to be used on different tools. So we can follow the future development of the Green Deal to identify this kind of project. Is there any other question? So if there are any question, I will go through the conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have a very interesting presentation with our four speakers. So thank you, Daniele, Simona, Arianna, and Laura. And the point I would like to highlight is that climate celebrations should be an opportunity to evaluate our progress and to see where you are regarding the objectives, the main objective of 2050, which is the carbon neutrality at worldwide level, and to assess what we have done since now and what is actually being done to reach this goal. And finally, we see that you need to target different public, students with educational approach, businesses with the development of environmental impact data with the LCA, the PEF method, or all the data they can use to improve their research and development regarding their business activities, but also taking into account other impacts like Arianna developed through the Digital Water City, but also Daniele, because on the education, on the carbon footprint cup, he talked about carbon, but also water. And another important stakeholders is also the municipalities. That is the point underlined by Laura. And finally, we see that the policies, the commitments, and the political level is important to amplify actions or to develop some kind of project like the database at European level, for example. And we, of course, need to know what has happened when we would like to implement some kind of projects, because the idea is, of course, to have a kind of innovations, but not to reinventing the wheel. So that is why this kind of webinar could be interesting also for our speakers. You see that Daniele has linked one of the project developed with the scene with what municipalities are also done through the standard of the JG carbon footprint for municipalities. So it's really the networking to develop with the speakers, but also with participants who could find the data they are looking for, but also having in mind some tools or resources which are already being developed by the organization. And this is important because we have many LIFE, Horizon 2020, Erasmus+, all projects developed with European Commission funds have generally a project website to disseminate and to replicate a project in other countries at European level. So do not hesitate to consult the European project ongoing or which have been already done in the past, because the resources are still available and free. So thank you very much for your participation. I hope it was interesting for you, and we will of course send the presentation to all the participants and to those who subscribe but will not able to join the webinar today. And I wish you a good end of the day, a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. And I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you too.